Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Today I found some hosta seeds. They were on top of one of my plants that I was transporting over to our new house from our old house. We still had some pots over there. And I know it's very late in the season. This is not the ideal time to do it, but I was going to try to get some started from seed. And I'll just grow them indoors through the winter, and then in the springtime, when all danger of frost is past, I'll put them outside. So we'll give it an attempt. We'll see what happens. We're going to do the first step inside the house because it is simply taking these seeds here and getting them separated from the husk, and then I'm going to put them in a bag with a wet paper towel and put them in the fridge for a couple days while I get a few more things that I don't have here at this house that are still back over at the other house. Some of my seed starting stuff is still over there. So, but what you can do is you can store it in the refrigerator for a little bit to help maintain its viability a little bit longer. Plus, by putting it in a wet paper towel, that's going to make sure that those seeds are nice and hydrated. So here we go. Okay, so when you find your hosta seeds, they're going to be on a stalk just like this. It'll be kind of browned. And then the seeds themselves are on the inside of those little husks. They're these little black winged seeds. You can see like that. Just like that. So I'm just going to kind of ruffle these up a bit and try to get those out. Nothing too crazy. And we've got a bunch more in here. And I forget what variety this is because I had it potted in a pot and I lost track of what variety it was, but it's a larger leaf variety with some variegation, but there's no guarantee that the hostas that grow from this will be similar to or the same as the plant that it came from. They might be. Then again, they could be like the parent plants that hybridized it, or they could be something completely different. You just don't know until you grow. So that's what we got. We got quite a few seeds right there. And I'm going to take some of these husks and move them out of the way so that they are not going to be in the mix. Make sure I got all the seeds I can out of there. So now I've just got a damp paper towel. And I'm going to put the seeds on top of that damp paper towel, just like this. Get a few that fell off, pop them in here. And then just to kind of keep them in, I'm going to fold over the paper towel. If you get a few things in here, like the little husks, it's not a big deal at all, but you try to remove a few of those if you can. And we're going to leave it in the fridge just for a few days. Nothing major, it's just to help preserve them and hydrate them. So we get it just like that. And then I'm going to get a bag, set them in there. And in a few days, I will put them into some soil. Ta-da! Okay guys, it's been about a week and I've got the hosta seeds that I took out of the refrigerator. And we're going to go take a look at those right now. They're just in this little baggie here. You can see what we've got. Now the little paper towel is nice and wet still. No rot or molding. And there we go. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and put them into a soil mix and get the tray ready to start germinating some hosta seeds. So here we go. Basically, I have taken this. This is just obviously a baking tin that we got from some carry-out food at Costco. It was pretty good, actually. But anyway, we're going to take this and use the plastic lid to help keep humidity in. I'm not going to put holes in this right away. We're just going to kind of spritz it and keep it very light as far as the moisture content goes because we don't want to have them soaking or anything like that, at least until germination. And once they've germinated, I may put this on a secondary tray, poke a few holes in the bottom, and then we'll be able to let them grow that way. So here we go, let's get some soil in this. And for soil, what I'm using is just a seed starting mix. This is right here, this is just Jiffy Peat. It is an organic one. You don't have to use organic if you don't want to. My opinion basically on organic soil versus something that's not labeled organic is if you're gonna eat it, maybe you wanna go with organic. If it's just a perennial, ornamental type plant, regular is fine, but this is just what I had on hand. So, and basically it's probably made with peat and some other things in it, vermiculite, perlite. So we're just going to put some of this into this tray. Now, because it's got peat in it, it is hydrophobic, which means technically afraid of water. But what it does do is it repels water, and you'll see it kind of beat up a little bit. So we're probably going to need to let it soak some water into it, let it absorb, and then we'll come back and then plant the seeds on top of it. There we go. That should be enough to get these germinated. Now, there we go. Breaking up some of these clumps that are in here. You can see sometimes they come out. But we just break them up a little bit, like that. All right, so I'm going to go over to the sink, put a little bit of water in this, and then we're going to let it absorb into it, and I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, so here is the soil that we've got in here, this potting soil, not potting soil, seed starting soil is what it is. And you can see as I kind of like tap it here just a little bit that there's a little bit of water movement on it, and that's fine. So it's going to gradually absorb the little bit of water that we put in there. And again, we're not trying to oversaturate this. We want just enough for the mixture to be nice and wet, but not overwhelmingly damp, okay? So now we're going to take these seeds, see here, they're a little bit wet, so it's going to be a little hard to spread them out, but we're probably just going to kind of scatter sow on top. Get as many as we can, as evenly as we can. We can always pull them apart later after they've grown a little bit, tease them out. Now, Hosta seeds will not necessarily come true to the parent, especially if they are a variegated variety of Hosta. A lot of those variegated varieties are a sport, which, you know, when you have sport, that is a genetic variation of the original plant. And so somebody will take that sport and then they'll grow it on as its own plant. And then so the only way you can actually get that true to the original is to divide it, which you can look at the division video that I've got. I'll post a link here up in the corner and in the description so you can follow that. But I'm going to try to get all these seeds in here, let them scatter about as much as we can. And that's quite a few seeds. Kind of curious to see how much is actually going to germinate, what the rate's going to be like. I have not counted these, so I really will have no clue at all. But, you know, if we get a lot of them, that's great. If we get a few, that's great too. All right, so that's what, so far I've just got them surface sown. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with a handful of this stuff, and I'm going to just kind of lightly cover it back over. Okay. Typically, there's a rule of thumb where you want to plant your seeds about 2 times the depth of the width of the seed. So in this case, they're pretty small seeds, and I'm just giving a light surface covering for them. So I'll pat them down a little bit, make sure that they make good contact with the dirt. Sorry, some people get upset when you say dirt, soil, however you want to do it. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give a little spritz. There we go. Just a light spritz on top of the dirt, soil. There we go. Get it right. And just like that. We'll keep doing that for a minute, just till we're sure that everything has gotten enough moisture. There we go. Now, once we've gotten that done, like this, we've got a nice convenient lid that we can just take and put right on top of this, and that's going to keep the moisture inside here. That way it doesn't evaporate and dry out. And then once we get some good germination, we can take the lid off. So the next step is going to be, if I can actually get this plastic lid on correctly, there we go, just like that. Don't put it in the oven and bake it for dinner. We're going to put it in a window area that gets indirect sunlight, so that there's some warmth and sunlight to it. They kind of like things to be around 60 degrees or so Fahrenheit. We're going to be doing this inside the house, so it is going to be warmer than that, but it'll be fine. They'll germinate. Let's go take a look. So for right now, they are sitting in a somewhat shady location. We do get afternoon sun through the window in this room, so it should give enough light that we've got some indirect sunlight for it. And we'll leave it here for a little bit until we start getting some germination, and that's when I'll be back with you on these hosta seeds. Hey guys, so it's time for a check-in here on our hosta seeds. No, that is not an enchilada bake with rotisserie chicken, though that was very tasty when we had it. But what I did want to share with you is check this out here. See these little green spots coming up? Those are the hosta seedlings beginning to emerge. There's another one right there. And we'll scan over here. There's another one. We are 12 days into growing these seeds, and there's quite a few of them starting to emerge. So we'll check back in a couple more days after they've come out of those seeds, and we'll show you what they look like. Okay guys, so 2 more days have passed since I last showed you the seedlings, and check these out right there. Lots of little pieces of green hostas coming up. And I've elevated them up over here to a windowsill so they can get a little bit more light. I'm still keeping them covered, hoping that we're going to get a little more germination from a few things. But, you know, this is not bad. This is probably a good 20 or so little seedlings that are popping up everywhere. I have not counted. I'm just kind of making a guess at that. So here we are. We're about a week since my last update, and I just wanted to show you where we're at with these hosta seedlings. So right here you can definitely see that they are starting to form up their typical hosta shape. You can see those leaves starting to form right there. But you can also see that we've got a lot of little ones still coming up. There's one that's just newly starting to germinate coming from the seed. So you can see they're all kind of coming up at various different times. It's only been a few weeks since I originally planted them. They're doing well. We've got 35 little seedlings starting right now. There's potential for a few more to pop in here, but you know, 35 is a pretty good starting point. So I'll continue to do what I've been doing. I'll just keep them in a nice window where they're getting a little bit of light, but not too much direct light. I'll keep them covered so they can maintain their humidity. And hopefully in a few weeks, I'll have them large enough where I can put them into some small pots. So the big disadvantage with doing them this time of year in the winter is that you're going to end up having to find a place to put them eventually. I've got 35 little plants here that in a few weeks are going to need potted up in individual little pots and then put somewhere where they're going to get a decent amount of light. Now they're hostas, so they don't need full sun locations. They'll need something that's part shade. So an indirect window will work just fine. I do need to get some plant shelves up to get some seed starting things going, and so that might be an opportunity for me to put these on there until I've got my seeds ready to get started for the year. So anyway, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. I hope this video was interesting about the hosta seeds, and hit the like button, subscribe. We'll catch you next time.